Oh.
Hear my voice in that means that they can hear you.
I actually... Okay, that's funny. The delay on YouTube was so long that you could hear me just letting Jake know what's going on. Hi, everyone. How's the balance for everything? We had a little bit of audio recursion. Don't worry, it's gone. Perfect. Looks like everything's okay. Oh, I should probably shout this out on my Twitter, shouldn't I? I absolutely did not even think of this. I'm really bad at this. There we go. That would probably be wise. Blech. Yeah, no, this, funny enough, this is a gaming keyboard technically, but I got it for typing back in college because I was doing so much typing that it's one of those things where you use a tool so much, it may as well be a good one, right? That's sort of just how I live life. It's like, if I use something a lot, then I'll invest in it. If I don't use it a lot, or it's not important, eh. Here we go. So here's how this is going to work. If you guys want to... Let's see here. Actually, give me just a moment. Okay. I don't stream very much on YouTube, obviously, but we're just gonna roll with it. Yes, this music, so the music that's going to be playing during all of this is made by Ryan Probert, who is the regular composer for Down the Rabbit Hole. He's the person who makes all the music that you hear for Down the Rabbit Hole. And yeah, I am quite comfy. I've got my tea. This is an oolong. I really like oolongs and whites and greens, but today I'm doing an oolong because I feel like it suits Jake really well. No, this is like this is traditional Austrian clothing. It's, I think, 80% wool. It was a gift. And these buttons are deer antler, or deer don't have antlers, buck antler. You know what I mean. Okay, step one. Let's heat this tea. This is kind of funny. This tea it's an oolong, but it's an absolute bitch to brew. Because to get the really good flavors out of it, you kind of have to get some of the bitterness too. Oh, yeah, I do, I kind of drink pu'er. I'm not super into it. I have one pu'er that I still need to get into. And then Ryan also was sweet enough to get me this really cool pu'er tea that where they take the tea and they stuff it into a mandarin orange. It'll be archived, don't worry. Okay. I'm still actually kind of figuring out how to steep this tea. So I'm just gonna take... So, okay. There's a story behind this. This is obviously the teapot that was used in the preview image, but I'm not going to be using it, and I'll explain why in a minute. So, step one. This little thing here, by the way, if anyone's interested in getting into tea, these things right here, this makes half a cup of tea at a time. This is like a tea tasting kit. And they're literally $12. They're really cheap. Oh yeah, and I know everyone's probably wondering when the next Down the Rabbit Hole is coming out, so I'll just address that now. The narration's recorded, and I'm already partway through cutting all of the narration together and sending that off to Ryan so he can make the music, and he is blazing fast with that stuff. So the video's in the final stages of production. It's not going to take terribly long to make. Yeah, I like this, my Betty Crocker teaspoon measure. But yeah, don't worry, the new Down the Rabbit Hole is coming out really soon. So this is kind of funny. There's a story. I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole last night because I set up this stream about 14 hours ago, and I decided, you know what, I'll hang out and chat and talk with people a little bit. And then someone asked, hey, is that a Yixing pot? I think that's how you pronounce it. Is that a Yixing pot? And I said, I think so. And like I got it from Ryan, my composer. He got it for me. It was really sweet. And he let me know, hey, just by the way, there are toxins. Like, it was just discovered in the last few days that there are really bad toxins in Yixing pots from this certain time period. It's like a 25-year period. So I decided to look into this a little bit more. And I look it up. It turns out the compound is barium chloride. And barium chloride is, as far as I can tell, a paralytic. That is to say, it causes paralysis. So I'm free. It's used in rat poison. So I'm freaking out a little bit. So I go onto a tea Discord I'm a part of, and I'm like, hey guys, is there, like, I search it specifically first to see if there's information. There's a Facebook post with a bunch of information on it, apparently, but I can't look at it because it's locked. I have to be invited to get in, so I can't find the information about, like, whether or not my teapot is toxic. So I ask, like, I just straight up ask, hey, could someone help me figure out if my teapot is toxic? And so someone takes a look at it, and, you know, I show it to him, and he says, like, there are a lot of signs that this is not actually Yixing pot, and that's not surprising. Yixing pots, for those who don't know, are they're a special kind of pot that's porous, so that the more you use it, the more flavor gets absorbed into the tea, and then the flavor of the clay gets absorbed into the tea, and it affects the flavor in a really positive way. They're quite expensive, usually. But he takes a look at it, and he's like, there are a lot of signs of, like, mass manufacturing, and it's probably fake. And that's, you know, that's just how it goes. There are more fake Yixing pots than there are real pots. But now, so on one hand, it's like, okay, well, I'm probably not going to get barium chloride poisoning. But now there's another problem. Whatever this clay is was probably dyed to look like this. So now there's the question of what kind of... Okay. Hello? Are we good? Okay. There we go. Okay. We're back. Okay. Here's what happened. Okay. So, my apartment is set up kind of weird. the circuit breaker is sort of separated. This room has its own circuit breaker, and I've got my computer here. Okay, good. I'm not piping. I have my electric kettle going, and the computer is on the same breaker, and it tripped the breaker. So I'm going to have to figure something else out. So, but before I figure that out, I was not expecting that. Just all of a sudden my monitors go off. What's funny is that my tower is connected to a different, you can't see my hand motion. My tower is connected to a different breaker. So the computer stayed on, but my screens are connected to this breaker that, the same breaker that my kettle was attached to. So I thought that everything just died. I thought I lost power in the apartment. So, yeah, this pot has killed stream now. This thing is cursed. That's what we've learned tonight. This pot is completely cursed. So, right, I was saying, this pot is not Yixing, most likely. It's just colored to look that way. So now the question is, what is it? If it's not Yixing, then what is it? We have a couple of different, like, potential poisons now, especially if it's fake. You know, they're going to be more unscrupulous. So actually, and then this is a whole other part of this story. So I go onto this tea Discord, right? And now everyone's curious. What is this pot made out of? So someone remembered, like, when I introduced myself to the tea Discord, I mentioned, like, the general area that I live. And he's like, hey, wait a minute. I know someone who could do a chemical analysis on it. And so when the quarantine's over and, you know, things have died down, I'm going to go out to this chemical laboratory and figure out what this pot is made out of and if I poisoned myself or not. Because I've used this a little bit. So yeah, oh, did the stream hitch? Uh-oh, do I have dropped frames? No dropped frames. So if you're dropping frames that's on your side, you should be able to reduce the quality of the stream if you need to. So by the way, with Super Chats, I'm probably going to get to most of them at the end of the stream. Just FYI. Alright, I need to figure out something to do with this kettle, though. Okay, we're good. Let's see. Give me just a moment. Am I blindingly pale? Oh. Hold on a moment. I definitely am struggling to... Oh yeah, I just am very pale in general, but... Let me see. I could probably fix contrast a little bit. There we go. That's probably a little nicer. I am drastically pale, though. It's my Norwegian... Like, I'm basically, like, I'm Norwegian, German, and British. That's my blood. And so, like, just the whitest people you can think of mashed together. Cubone, I've done face reveals. Go to one of my mistakes videos. My face is not a secret. Okay. What are we gonna do with the kettle? Am I just going to have to get up? Wait a minute. No, dang. I was thinking, do I have an extension cord? I don't think I have an extension cord. So... yeah, so I'm not going to use this teapot, but I am going to leave it here because it's pretty. There's also a story behind the hurdy-gurdy, interestingly enough. Here's what I'm going to do. What am I going to... Oh, wait a minute. Okay. I think I've got... This heater is also... I have a space heater for my little office area here. I am going to unplug this space heater and hopefully it won't, like, hopefully I can do this again and things won't break. Okay, give me just a second. Fingers crossed. Scoot. Okay. Turn this off. Aha, okay, it affected the lights. Yeah, no. Okay, we're improvising. Yeah, okay. Here we go. I totally forgot about the space heater. It's just, I just didn't think about it. Okay. Oh, crap. Now I need to plug in the kettle. I need to get up again. This stream's a mess. Okay. Alright, I can hear the high-pitched whine of the kettle. Why would you play League of Legends? Why would anyone ever play League of Legends? Alright. Okay, I'm really scared to turn this thing back on now. The stream will stay up, I think. But... Oh, this isn't a cardigan, funny enough. This, I don't, not really. It's, I forget what it's called. It's a traditional kind of Austrian clothing. The curse of being the Wonder Bread of Europe. Alright, here we go. Fingers crossed. Come on. I'm gonna set my timer while that happens. I'm gonna set it for 1:30. I was supposed to have Jake on by this point. But man, oh, yes! It heated the water. We're okay. Okay. We're fine. Have I considered doing voice acting? Absolutely. I've been thinking recently it'd be really fun to break into it, actually. Are we good? Uh-oh, people are saying that there's lag. Oh, no, people are just like, oh, this stream's gonna die. Okay, I gotcha. No, we're okay. All right, good. Yeah, and I have no dropped frames on my end. So, here's what we're gonna do. These things are really cool. So this is a tea tray. This tray is specifically made to, like, dump water into it. And I don't do this with most teas. Some people swear by rinsing the tea, but I'm going to do, like, a little 5-second steep real quick. Just to wake the leaves up a little bit and to get rid of a little bit of the bitterness. Now I'm just going to dump it right into the tray. Oh, look at the steam. Can you guys see the steam rising? You can. Oh, that's pretty. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to steep it again. Can you guys see the leaves in there? Yeah. All right, I've got my timer going. This little thing is so cheap, but it's so useful. I'm going to leave that off. Okay, because it makes a high-pitched whine. No, I know. There are so many things that I need that I don't have. What I really need is like a gong fu cup. Oh, what's it called? Yeah, this is how you know I'm a fake tea drinker. Show us your face without using deep fakes, reptilian. Thank you, Cubone. I like my reptilian features. Oh, crap. I just started a million conspiracy theories about me. Oh, the reason the water heated up so quickly was because it was already warm. Like, it had gone part way to heating up, and then the circuit breaker tripped. Gaiwan, thank you. Yes. What I really need is a Gaiwan. Let's get Jake in here. Yeah, the teapot's toxic. Maybe. I don't know. That's the problem. That's what we're trying to figure out. Let's... Alright, whoops. I probably steeped this tea for too long. Oh, boy. And the leaves are getting in the way. I can hear the timer going. Come on. There we go. That'll do. I was doing it Guy Wan style there for a minute. I'm going to be drinking leaves. Whatever. Doesn't matter. No, I wish my water kettle was that fast, right? Everyone does. Yeah, you don't really need a lot of, like, tea equipment. You just need stuff that works. That's why it's like, this thing is getting me by. Ooh, oh, look at that steam. Oh, this is like the creepy track. Christ. Yeah, this has been going the whole time, hasn't it? Let's see how I did this first. I'm going to slurp this, and I apologize. I'll do it away from the microphone. Just by the way, the whole inspiration for this stream was, wow, I hate mukbangs. American mukbangs, specifically, where it's just like, people slurping into the microphone. Ugh, it's terrible. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to do one for tea, and it's not going to be disgusting. That's just my opinion. If you like mukbangs, you know, more power to you. That's fine. But man, I just really don't like it. And yeah, I'm using Down the Rabbit Hole music for this. It's on random. Let's skip this one and find one that's a little less creepy. Nope. This one's creepy again. Did I have it on shuffle? No, I didn't have it on shuffle anymore. That's why it was creepy. This is the Temple OS music. Okay, it's on shuffle now. This is still... God, my videos are just creepy. Here we go. Let's get Jake in here. This tea's gonna be so bitter. I guarantee it. Hey, Jake. Can you hear me okay? Is it mukbang? I don't know the pronunciation. Alright, let's taste this. Yep. I got it real bitter. But that's okay. I'm also getting a lot of the flavor. This tea is so flavored. Hey, I can hear you.
You hear me? Okay, good.
How you doing, man? Excuse me, right. Sorry, I need to introduce you. This is Popular Front, a podcast talking about the very niche and kind of geeky details of modern warfare with me, Fredrik Knudsen.
Is that a British accent?
Today, I've got Jake Hanrahan.
Okay, now Austin Powers.
Irregular warfare is groovy, baby.
I seen it was going really smoothly.
Yeah, it's perfect. No, I totally was a streamer for years. What are you talking about? Yeah, fun fact. I was a streamer long before I was a YouTuber.
Yeah, I was watching you on Twitch. You were playing a game a few nights ago, and I heard you talking about it.
Yeah.
I think you should do it, man. It's good.
Oh, no, like, it used to be a lot of fun. I did it because I was a competitive game caster. Oh, turn him up, people are saying? Okay, oh, yes, I can do that. Here we go. All right, that should be better. But no, like, I was a competitive game caster way back in the day.
Yeah, I'd love to, man. If I had my time again, like, if being, like, playing video games online and getting paid was like an option when I was at school, I would have done that, man. Like, I really love esports because it's like everything that you were told as a kid, like you'll never get anywhere if you just sit there playing video games, and now it's like, nah, they're making more money than their parents. Like, it's crazy, you know what I mean?
Right. It's kind of like the best middle finger possible to our parents, like, right?
Pretty chill, like not even like very offensive, like you're not going out doing drugs or anything, you just like,
right.
I just want to be at home, like.
Right, yeah. It's like the kids are often like there's a certain level of decorum expected from esports players as well. Like they tend to be pretty upstanding people, unless you're throwing a game for a few $100, but
Yeah, they can be a bit boring though. Like I did some research because I wanted to make a documentary a few years ago, like a series about it all, and they were just, some of them were so dry, man. Do you know what I mean? I don't know what it was, but I think maybe they took themselves a little too serious. And then the ones that were more fun were kind of outcast. Do you know what I mean? So
I know what you mean. It's really tricky because a lot of the time, esports is a little bit different from regular sports because these games are programmed and made by companies that are looking to get a return on their investment. And so esports are often supported by the publisher specifically because it helps sell the game, and so it's catered to people who play the game. It's not there to draw new people in, it's to keep people who are already playing it in it. So it's difficult to penetrate.
Yeah, it's, I think the whole like gaming, I watch what's that guy, Jim Sterling.
Yeah.
He's great, man. Like, I mean, people say he's negative, but when you look at how disgusting the kind of video game industry is with what's that guy, Randy Pickford or something.
Randy Pitchford, yeah.
Like it's just horrible, man. Like, so
the game industry is a nightmare. It's horrifying. Like I cannot believe it.
So much money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's sad, man. But I love gaming, man. I absolutely love video games. Like I've always played. I'm not like really into that, like nerd culture. Like I'm not really like that. I just think video games are cool. Do you know what I mean? I don't want it to be like a thing.
It's not your identity.
I just like always have. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it's like you're a gamer. Like not really. I've just been playing games my whole life. Like,
no,
and I'm terrible at them. Like I'm pretty bad at almost all games, but I just enjoy them.
No, I'm the same way. The problem is that I'm actually going to turn my voice down just a little bit so I match Jake. Okay. My problem is that so in most things, right? I'm not terribly competitive. I'm not like, yeah, I can make tea better than you, or like I'm gonna drive faster than you down the highway. It's like that's not my kind of competitive bent. It's more like I do like competition a lot, but then I also recognize I don't want to go all in on these competitive games that I'm really into. And so I played For Honor for a while, which is hilariously fun. Cool. Yeah, it's a really cool game. It's broken as hell, but it's really fun. And I found myself sort of bumping up against a ceiling, and I'm like, the only way I'm going to get past this ceiling is like if I really start dedicating my attention and time to it. And I'm just like, I don't want to do that for For Honor. For Honor's not worth that.
That's so badly the problem now. Like me and two of my best friends play Call of Duty like every night at the minute because of the lockdown, and we're just playing like just it's a good way to chat to your mates because like I don't know about it in the US, but like, generally men here don't really call up their mates for a chat. Like it's just not. It's more, you know what I mean? It just isn't really a thing that lads do here. It's quite difficult, I think, for us. Yeah. So anyway, so we do that, and like we're saying, like we're getting popped by like 12-year-olds and whatever, and it's like, you just have to have no life. I would never get any work done if I had to, people like just get good. It's like, yeah, well then I'll lose my everything. You know what I mean? Like,
no, I know,
play like
I know what you mean.
Click adventure games. I love them, man.
Oh, that's awesome. I have a few that are sitting in my Steam library that I've accumulated from Humble Bundles. Like I have a ton of games, but they're all from Humble Bundles, and I've got them all waiting for me. I'm really excited to try out Subsurface Circular. Have you seen that game?
Oh, I don't know that one.
You play as a robot detective essentially in a world of like robots and humans, and robots have to take this, second-class citizen subway. And you are confined to the subway, and you have to like solve a murder or solve a mystery while like just by talking to the other robots on the line.
Yeah, no, I do know this actually. Yeah, no, that looks really cool, man. I love the look of that. There's a lot of that's the first ever games I ever played as a kid when I was like, I don't know, like 7 or 8. Like point and click. I remember like my granddad got me a copy of Broken Sword, the original. I don't know why. He was just like, oh, it's a cartoon, you'll love it, whatever, have this. You know what I mean? And it was so weird and adult. I didn't get half of it, but I loved it, man. To this day, like that game, the original, like they destroyed it. They did like a remake, director's cut, and it's appalling. But the original is just amazing, man. Like it's so good.
Oh, that's fantastic. I don't know how the latency would be, but the game that I was playing on Twitch the other night was PlanetSide 2. You should totally join for it sometime. It's the perfect PvP game. Because, and here's my argument for PlanetSide 2 being the best PvP game ever. It's an MMO FPS, but your presence on your team is never a detriment. Because your presence there is just another gun shooting against the enemy. Right? There's no way that you can, like, make things worse in a fight for your allies by being there. And that's my problem with games like Dota or For Honor, is if I underperform, I feel like a douchebag. Because I'm dragging the team down. It's like someone else who's better could be here in my place. Oh, so...
I have the opposite problem. Like, I don't feel bad. Like, I used to play World of Warcraft with my friend years ago. I love that game. I still play now and then. I play the new classic one. And like, people are like, your DPS is terrible. I was like, I don't mind, I'm having fun. Like, whatever. Like, they're like, you're ruining the team. Oh, like, I mean, it sounds really bad, but I guess I didn't really understand how competitive people were back then.
No, and I feel like that's part of the problem with going into random matchmaking in PvP is everyone there is there for a different reason. Some people are there because fuming. Yeah, everyone's angry. Like some people are there to have a casual time, but they really want to win. There's some people who are like working really hard to win constantly, and if anyone else like is not giving 110%, they're going to let you know how unhappy they are. Right?
Yeah. Like, fucking noob! Like,
it's
wow,
like, yeah, I don't want to make you unhappy, but you're also a douche. Why am I here?
Yeah.
It's like
they call it griefing, right?
Right. No, and well, griefing is when you purposefully do bad or like do things that set your team back. But I'm like when I'm doing badly, I'm never griefing. I never grief. And so I just
man,
like...
in Call of Duty, like I grief all the time. I'm spraying people spray paint in the face in the gulag. Like I'm that guy.
Okay, I feel like that's acceptable. That's kind of acceptable.
Yeah, I guess. Like punching 100 times while they're waiting. Like, I've always had that like troll aspect, I think, a little bit, which I could never really, I can't grow up out of it. And I think in games, there's something that is just hilarious to me that someone on the other end is like, fuck. You know what I mean? It's,
no,
because it doesn't bother me. Like if someone griefs me, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, totally. Like, I don't really have that much of a problem if someone's BMing me. I just really don't want to be a drag on my teammates. That pressure is always there.
Way to be.
That's what's great about PlanetSide is it's like guilt-free griefing, because the penalty for dying is so small in that game that you can do shit to people and fuck with them, and it's who cares, right? Just respawn.
Right.
You're back in the fight again immediately.
Yeah, that sounds good, man. It looked cool.
Yeah, no, someone's asking if I've heard of Aim Kid. I support him on Patreon. I give that guy $5 a month. I love his animations. He's great.
Kid? No, I don't know.
Oh, he's just an animator. I just saw someone bring him up, and it's like, hey, wait a minute.
Hey, I love the music. That new... well, I don't know if it's new, but I haven't noticed that music before. Like, I was listening to it when the stream started, man. I love that.
Oh, yeah. That's all Ryan. Ryan makes original music. I pay the dude to make original music for Down the Rabbit Hole. He's going to be coming on Sunday. Sunday's his birthday.
Is it? Oh, yeah, he's great, actually. He makes the music for Atrocity Guide, the most recent one, I think. Yeah. He's good, man.
No, he's fantastic. He's the one who got me the pot. It was very, very well intentioned. And it's like, I treasure this pot so much, no matter what it is, even if it's poison. It's... No, he's
well intentioned. He's trying to steal the channel, man. He's trying to poison you out here.
I am Fredrik Knudsen now.
Yeah, man.
Now God, I've been especially getting into your podcast. Like we've been talking, like we've been bullshitting, but I totally want to like, I want to signal boost you a little bit because Popular Front is like, it's some of the best news that you're going to get. And I know that you're not like, a breaking news channel, but like if I want to know what's going on in the world, Popular Front's kind of the best way to learn about it because you're not bought by anyone. You don't have an angle. You're just, here's what's happening.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much. I mean, it's really blown up. It's 2 years old now. And it's just like, I mean, I started it off as a side project. And within like 6 months, it was like, oh, wow, like we can just do this. So it's been great. Problem is right now I'm banned on Twitter, so I can't really direct anyone to that. But like,
right?
like
bullshit.
Popularfront.co is the best place to go. But yeah, man, it's thing is we never meant to start as like we always like I never had this idea of like we won't do news, like we'll never be first, we'll just be better.
Right.
But then I realized a lot of people just started calling us like, oh, this is the best news, and I realized like I guess like people in a good way, not everyone is obsessed with breaking news. People actually want more in depth.
I do.
Yeah, and right. A lot of people do, man. And the problem is in like I've been to doing a lot of for years I was at Vice, and I did stuff with BBC and all these places.
Right.
And commissioners there will tell you, oh, people don't want detail, they want it now, they want it quick, and it's just not true. I knew it wasn't true then, and and I think the Popular Front has proved that the people do want in depth, they want a lot, so it's been fun, man.
It's fantastic.
And we seem to cross over, like someone messaged me today on the Popular Front Instagram and was like, hey, like I saw you're gonna be on Fred's channel, that's so cool. I was like, yeah, man, that's my boy. Like, you like Popular Front? They're like, yeah. And it's like it's basically, I always say it's like weirdos recognize weirdos, you know what I mean? And I've always tried to keep that misfit aspect, within Popular Front. And I think, like our audience is, we got goth kids, we got like preppers, we got like anarchists, we got everyone there,
Right,
like,
the vaporwave aesthetic is universal.
Vaporwave, yeah, exactly, man, yeah. Everyone's like, this is so original. I was like, well, I mean, I just employed something that is cool. And, and we're very much kind of like anti-corporate, we don't have any adverts from corporate media or corporate companies, which sometimes I regret because the podcast is big now, like we're making way more money. But I think that's a lot of what brings people towards. They know that, if something goes wrong, it's my fault, which is good, rather than like, oh, we've been bought or whatever, which is just, you lose trust that way.
Right. It's your name that's out there, so if something goes wrong, like, at least you're the master of your own fate, right?
Exactly. I like that. I like the pressure of it has to be this way, because then it's like, well, I can't slack off and there's no days off, because otherwise it's me that's fucked it up. You know what I mean? And that's kind of good for me.
That's something that's been kind of scary for me. I remember the first person that I started collaborating with, like, in a true way, because I have Ark Axon, who does my graphic design, but I'm just sort of like I'm contracting him out, and it's not a huge amount of work, right? But Ryan is like there on the cutting room floor. He's there for like a lot of the process, and having someone who like is more of a collaborator, I realized is really scary, because suddenly I have some sort of reliance on someone else, and I've had to overcome that, and it's been difficult, but he's been so persistent and so like positive and so supportive that like it's taken time, but working with him has definitely grown on me over time.
Yeah, and he's great, like, and you can tell it's working. Do you know what I mean? When I've watched all of your videos, like, and you can tell it's working, like, but I'm struggling with that myself, like Popular Front is, I'd say like 90% me, and there's like other people that help out like here and there. And we, like I said, like I do what you do, like we give them a bit of money for this, and I try and like, when we started, it was a lot of voluntary stuff because we had no money, and people, people knew that. But now we're making a bit of money. Like I want everyone to eat. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
yeah.
That is hard, because then you're like, right, now everyone's getting paid if we're doing something. But then sometimes it's like that thing of like, you've paid this person to do this, so you trust them and they're good. But then I'm trying to tell myself, just let go of that. Stop it. Stop trying to micromanage everything. You know what I mean? Just let it. And I like collaboration. When I worked at Vice News, my favorite thing was the collaboration with the team.
Right.
But it's hard, man. It's hard to let go of your little baby, isn't it?
Yeah, it's different when it's like your name on the top.
Exactly.
It's a completely different thing, because I've done tons of collaboration. I tend to fall into leadership roles in general. I got a scholarship for it, even to college for my undergrad.
You seem like a guy that people would be like, yeah, let's follow him, sort of thing.
I don't know why. It actually kind of confuses me.
Because you seem calm and like, but not like useless. Like some people that are calm I don't mean to be rude, but you know, some people you're just like, oh, that guy's just gonna fall apart at the first sign of trouble.
I know what you mean.
But then, you know what I mean. But then some people are calm, and you know that like it's gonna be good when there's trouble because they will be calm rather than kicking off. You know what I mean?
Oh shucks. Well, thank you.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You know, I mean, yeah. You can see it.
I appreciate it, but like it really is. It's different when it's your name that's on the top, right? And like, you know, I can pay these people as much money as I want, and I really do try to be fair, right? But sometimes there are things out of your control. The more complicated a production process gets, the more things that can come in from the side and just break it. Like something can go wrong so much easier the more people you add to the equation that are essential.
Yeah, and the problem is sometimes I've had people suggest something and I'm like, yeah, man, cool, like let's do it. And then they try and take a little bit more control and a little bit more. Can you hear me?
Yeah, no, I knocked my my tray. Cool. We're good.
But yeah, like some people try and take more control, and then you're like, hang on, mate, are we collaborating here? Or are you trying to like run the shop? Like just chill out. Like so
right.
Like, I work with a guy, Luke Pierce, cameraman a lot, and he's a freelance cameraman.
Yeah, he was there with you in Hong Kong.
That's right, yeah, and he's great. Like he's like, look, I know it's your thing, like maybe do this. And I like people that don't get offended when you don't, you know, if I say, nah man, that's shit, let's not do that. Or yeah, that's good. Like, you know, he's not gonna be like, oh, that's my idea. Like I hate people that take it too personal, and it's good to work with people that you can be honest with, you know what I mean? And he's the same with me. He might be like, mate, shut up, that's stupid. And you're like, yeah, you're right. I think it's good to be able to be told you're an idiot, you're stupid, whatever. You should all be honest with each other, especially when you're doing journalism like I am. Like that was one of my biggest problems with Vice News was in the office, people were like, you need to stop kicking off, or not kicking off, but like you need to be quiet, you can't say that because that's management. And I was like, hang on, if I'm going to war and we're being honest and we're doing all this, surely I can be honest in the office as well, right? You know what I mean? Like,
no, that's so important. It's so important because that's something that I do with Ryan all the time. Is like, if I'm doing something stupid, you'll tell me, right? Like, exactly, like I get a lot of people. There are a few people that I always go to look at my scripts, right? And I tell them up front, like, if something isn't working, don't worry about hurting my feelings. I'd rather you call it out now than have hundreds of people call it out in the comments later, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I'd rather be fixed right now.
Well.
Yeah. I'm like, well, I mean, I have such an artistic background that I'm used to getting criticism, and it's not uncomfortable for me anymore.
Yeah, man. I think just the way my family are, they're quite kind of always been a bit brash. You know what I mean? Certainly my granddad. Like, my granddad's great. He's the kind of guy that will never have, like, you know, straight away if you've done something wrong. There's no like, you know what I mean? You don't go in the house and he's quiet. He's telling you, hey, get here. What the hell have you done? You know what I mean? There's no wondering. And I like that. I like, hey, let's cut to this. Let's get it done. Argue, get it done. And a lot of people think I'm, you know, a lot of people don't like me, and I understand, like, he's arrogant, he's this, I'm like, nah, man, I just want to be, like, upfront. If someone's doing something shit, then you should say, hey, stop that. That's not right. You shouldn't do that. I just feel like that's okay. And then some people say, like, oh, yeah, when you get criticism, you just, like, tell people to fuck off. It's like, firstly, when you're trying to write an essay in my Instagram comment, like, just get out. Like, and secondly, like, it's okay to give criticism, but if it's stupid, I'm gonna be like, well, no, I'm not taking that on board. You know what I mean? Like, we get a lot of hardcore communists that don't like Popular Front because they will say, well, hey, you should do this, and then I'm like, no, I shouldn't. And then they cannot accept that you don't, you know, there's such a high opinion of themselves that it's like, well, I've suggested something. Well, yeah, it's stupid. Oh, how dare you? You know, it's like, what? I don't have to do what you say. Like, what's wrong with you? Why are you like, you know what I mean?
It's kind of weird, right? It's like some people, when they start giving criticism, suddenly it becomes their project too, and it becomes difficult. It becomes difficult for them to let go of it as soon as they've latched onto it.
Yeah, and it's like, look, like if I might say something to someone like, mate, that looks terrible, and they might say, no, I think it's fine. Like, whatever, that doesn't mean anything. Like, I'm not gonna cry. Like, I'm gonna say, okay, fine. Like, and then I might be wrong. Like, I really think people need to be way more honest with each other, like, and not be offended by it, because it's fun to like get better at stuff. I made so many stupid decisions in my career, and you know, the things that have always turned it around is people being upfront with me and even being harsh to a degree and being like, hey, you fucking idiot, like, and it's like, yes, got it, you know, like, you're right, you know, as long as that's from someone you respect, I think, you know,
right?
a
Yeah,
lot of
like
haters
if
will
it's
say,
just if it's just some random douchebag who's like, hey, fuck you, you're doing this wrong. It's like,
yeah, I get that
probably
literally
ignore
every day.
Yeah,
Every day of the week I get that. Yeah, like a message, I hate you, hope you die, you're a piece of shit. You know, like that. It just that rolls off. You know, it's like water.
Oh my god, no, I think I showed you in particular my favorite comment that I've ever gotten. Right?
Oh, I love this. Yeah.
Yeah. How can you have the balls to
ghoul.
juge? Yeah. What is the fuck? You are a ghoul. It's
It's so good.
It's so
you need that on a t-shirt. The best comment about that comment is it's a bit longer, and they're literally so taken aback. They're like, "You are so ugly."
so ugly.
Like,
Yeah.
it's like, oh shit. But first of all, you're not an ugly guy. Like, and secondly, like really?
It's like,
You're
I'm
that angry
okay.
about it?
Again,
What the fuck, ghoul? Oh, it's great, man.
I got
Yeah. I get quite a bit of that.
The best part about that comment is it's edited. It has that little note edited.
So they came
He
back
went
to
back,
it.
changed it.
Man.
What did he change?
Well, you know, he did it. Went to make tea or something, and just was like, oh, like a shudder, like, oh, I must go back and tell him more about. How
Yeah.
like,
Did he just add more?
really find things like that very funny, though. You know, like people say to me, "How do you handle these comments?" On, and I say, by the way, I say, the Popular Front Instagram by far has the worst comment section on the whole of Instagram. I think we have that. I think so.
Instagram already seems like such a toxic and gross place.
Such a cesspit, yeah. But we don't edit anything, so I refuse to like. We get fascists in there, hardcore communists. We got like Trump guys, this, and I just don't edit it. I won't delete anything, like unless it's like calling for violence, because that's like no, I'm not having that. You know,
that's like
racial or that's no, but because that is. We say, well, it's free speech. No, it's not free speech. You're trying to destroy someone's free speech by killing them. Like, sorry.
Right. It's
but so we don't censor it apart from that, and it's really fun. Like, it's so fascinating to see. You know what I mean? And people get so angry. And I really laugh at it. Like, I find it so funny how angry, and to me, it's quite fascinating. I don't take offense to it. I think it's almost a nice thing to see in a way, because it's like I don't want anyone to feel like. Look, I think when you think you're above criticism or above being called a piece of shit, you've got a problem. Like, no one is above that. The internet, I prefer the internet when it was the Wild West. I really came up on the internet as a kid, and I almost, for me, it's like a touch of that still.
I got
some of the insults are amazing. Like, it's just amazing. I love it.
It's definitely something that I had to conquer. I didn't grow up on the internet as much as you did, I think. I wasn't there for like the early forums. I
was all over it.
I was scared to be on Neopets, you know what I mean? Like, the internet was kind of made into a boogeyman when I was there.
Yeah, I built a my granddad got the internet. He's like an old guy, obviously, but he's just always been like, we have to do this. This is a new thing. Like, we need to learn this thing. He's very cool.
Right.
And he gave me this programming book. And when I was like 10, I made a HTML fan page for Final Fantasy VII. Like, that's how involved I was. It was ridiculous.
That's oh man. I kind of regret that I missed out on that, because like back then the closest I got was using a MySpace profile page generator. Although I did take an HTML and CSS class in high school, but that's like everything that I've got. My time was focused on, like, in terms of creativity, was like writing and video.
That's way better.
Yeah, I did.
It's much better use of your time. Like, trust me.
No, like the skills that I used for Down the Rabbit Hole started in like middle school, elementary school. Actually, come to think of it, because that's when I was doing
what's
theater.
That elementary?
First to fifth grade.
Oh, right, we call that primary school. Yeah, so you're a kid, like you're a little kid.
Yeah. No, I did
theater.
Yeah,
same man. Actually, I started editing theater. Yeah, no, I was editing skate videos. Like, me and my friends would make like shitty skate videos, and I used to edit them when I was like 11, maybe 12. We used to edit them on like Windows Movie Maker, and then I saw CKY and Jackass, and like that was, for me, was just like, to be honest, the early CKY, like a part of that aesthetic I still use in Popular Front. Like, you might notice it now and then, like, because I've always held on to that. I just thought the way they did that was raw and cool, you know what I mean? When I watch it now as an adult, I'm like, really? They were doing this at like 30? but the way they, you know what I mean? The way they presented it was very cool. Like, I loved all that, man.
Yeah,
there was no templates back then, you know?
Right. I was kind of on the opposite end of that because I definitely had a more almost traditionalist upbringing with art. I watched a lot of Nova, lots of PBS. That's the public broadcasting station. Because
PBS. What's Nova? I don't know what that is.
Nova. Oh my God. Nova is a nature and science documentary series that is just, it's one of the best things ever. It takes science. It takes science and essentially turns it into a storyline, does tons of interviews with experts to essentially talk about the discovery of whatever. It really is all over the place. And Nova is probably my biggest inspiration. The way that Nova just didn't give a shit. Like, if the producers found something interesting, they covered it. It's so cool. Right. And you can find it all online, I think.
That should be the only remit. Like I always say, that is it interesting? Yes, that's it.
Right.
You know,
that's
constantly. I was battling edit producers when I was like, you know, freelancing and didn't have my own thing, and just constantly they're like, yeah, but what's the connection to X? You know what I mean? I'm like, mate, there is none.
Cares?
People, yeah, who cares? People will watch whatever is interesting. That is it. And unfortunately, a lot of the mainstream media think that people are stupid. They actually do, even though they pretend that they care about the working man, and they actually think they're stupid. And they're like, no, people need it to have this hook. And I'm like, no, mate, they don't. People, like Netflix has proven, people will watch 12 hours of something if it's interesting.
No, I mean, like, I when I was starting out, I definitely was afraid that people wouldn't watch anything past 30 minutes maximum. And then, you know, my Wings of Redemption video is my best performing video on my channel, and it's 2 hours long.
Really? How long is the time cube? That's probably my favorite one
That one was 45 minutes. That's when I started stretching the length a bit more.
It feels so much longer just because of how insane and mad it is. Do you know what I mean?
I think that my next video is going to be really similar. I don't want to give any spoilers for anyone. It is a historical topic, and the information was really hard to find, but it was worth it. This has been one of the most insane things I've ever learned about.
I know what it is, man. And like when you said about it to me, I had a little look, and I was like, "Oh man, like proper can't wait for it." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
because you do the research. That's the best thing. Like you do so. There's the levels, you know. So people always think because I cover war, they think that when I'm at home, I'm sat there like, I don't know, like snorting gunpowder or something.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't really. I mean, I like war documentaries and I read a lot of books about war, but generally day to day, I'm watching like spooky mysteries, conspiracies. Like I just love all that stuff. Not that I believe in it, but it just fascinates me. You know, that kind of weird
I know
side of the world.
Yeah.
And like that has always interested me. So, you know, I think there's a level to it. So with the YouTube, I watch a lot of them, and sometimes it's top 5 this, and it's like, all right, I'll take that for while I'm eating lunch. But then it's like there's levels like you, Atrocity Guide, like the new guy, Barely Sociable. He's good. Like that level of research is like, like when you feel like everything has already been done, the way to make it way better is like you said with the research and that.
You might really like Mama Max. Have you been watching
Never
Mama
heard
Max?
that one.
Okay, look up Mama Max. You'll probably really like
Max,
him. Yeah.
Okay.
If you're liking Barely Sociable and Atrocity Guide is amazing, by the way. I've been hanging out with her quite a bit, and she's fantastic.
Yeah, I spoke to her a little bit. She's great.
No,
yeah.
she's
great.
like,
when I first saw that, I was like, firstly the name, I was like, wow, that's great, like Atrocity Guide. And then like watching the videos, just like, how have I never, like I'm talking like I'm 30, I'm about 20 years deep in like internet stuff. Do you know what I mean? And still she'll do things, and you as well. Like, and I'm like, how did I never know about this? Like, I thought I knew about everything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
no, there's always something new to pick at, right?
Yeah, exactly. Even if someone knows a bit about the story, there's so much more.
It's I love Atrocity Guide because, so just by the way, you guys out there, the best way to make it big on YouTube, you ready for this? Here's the formula. Find something that you want to see and isn't being made yet. Because like that's what happened with Down the Rabbit Hole. I wanted content like this and nobody was making it, and I was like, I bet there's a niche for this. So I realized I had the confluence of skills necessary to make something mildly watchable. so I just made it. And now, like, I love Atrocity Guy because now I get to watch someone else doing it for me, right? Like, I get to enjoy it now. Like, I get to make it still. I'm not gonna stop making Down the Rabbit Hole. I love my job, but like now I also get to enjoy this style of video on YouTube.
It's amazing, man. It's like the thing I love, even though YouTube is, you know, I mean, I won't go into it, but it's a very difficult platform. You know, my whole channel has been demonetized. We're buried in all the algorithms. You know,
It's a nightmare. Yeah,
we don't show up anywhere. You know, because we're not a big corporation. It's a problem. But the best thing about it is though that like there is this whole like the way you watch YouTube. So when you do these long things, it's completely, if it's good, it's limitless. Do you know what I mean? There's no like, well, it has to be with this, it has to get an ad break, it has to da 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 da. Like, so I think that kind of organic creativity is still there, even though YouTube are doing their best to destroy it, but it is still there. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. It's, and to kind of go back to what you were saying before, it's like they're saying, oh, we have to, like, they think that people are stupid. And it's like, well, you're kind of right. Some people are stupid, but that doesn't mean that I have to make content for them. There are plenty of people who are willing to, you know, be there for more complicated topics about things that they don't know about, because you just have to choose your audience. Like, I don't want to make bottom of the barrel, you know, guy getting hit in the nuts with a football. Was it man getting hit by football?
Yeah.
Like
that would be very weird.
I don't have to make that kind of content because there is an audience outside of that.
Yeah. But there's also like the thing where guy getting hit by a football or whatever, like I might watch something like that, and then it's depending what mood you're in. Some people think that like because you watch stupid stuff,
right? Obviously, I'm
know?
Being really like very generalizing here.
No, I know what you mean though. Like you're right, but like there's also like again with like producers and people, they think like, well, they just watch that, and it's like, well, maybe give them something else. They might like it. You'd be amazed where, you know what I mean? I've learned with Popular Front, like the people that are engaged with us, I'm like, really? You like this? And people are like, yeah. It's just like I just didn't like the way X did it, and I like this way. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I have a big focus on, you know, the kind of catchphrase or strapline, whatever you want to call it, is like no frills, no elitism. And like by that I mean like no frills is like we're not dressing it up in any way. It's just this is what it is. If you don't like it, sorry, but that's how it is. And no elitism is because within conflict journalism, you know, my industry, there's a hell of a lot of elitism. You know, it's a lot of journalists make journalism for other journalists, and that's very boring. You know, so we want to get away from that. You know.
Yeah, it kind of becomes a circle jerk after a while.
Absolutely, that's exactly it.
I feel like the best media, no matter what kind of media it is made for an audience. And like that's just the way that I like to create. And there certainly is something to be said for art that is made to progress art, like in general, that references other art. But I feel like you can do that while still making something that can be consumed by an audience. That's not like completely inconsumable and undigestible. That's kind of like my goal with Down the Rabbit Hole. It's like these are very complicated and obscure and strange topics, but I can overcome that with my craft.
Exactly. Yeah, like it's like I always think of it like this. Yeah, you know, if you're like making you'd like pottery. Yeah, you like throw on a huge slab of clay. Well, you got to get from that big mound of clay to the pot. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's still the same clay, but someone needs to be able to see that it's a pot at the end. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's probably a stupid way of putting it, but that's how I see it as well, man. It's like this is very complicated. You don't have to water it down. The opposite needs to happen. You actually, I think, have to explain the details and the nuance. That makes it more understandable. Not watering it down, because then it's just, what's the point in it? You know?
Yeah, that's
and certainly like.
Go ahead.
Sorry,
go ahead.
On. Well, I was gonna say certainly what you said about art. Like it does need to be for an audience, because otherwise you just up your own ass.
Yeah,
so, like you know, like J.D. Salinger, like he wrote a lot of books that he was like, no one's gonna read these.
Right.
What's the fucking point? Like, you idiot. Like that to me is really, you really like love yourself when you think you're doing it. My grandma says like if he was made of chocolate, he'd eat himself. You know, like about people that like really like are up their own ass, and that is a real boring. That's not fun anymore.
Well, yeah, my high school English teacher had a phrase for this, and he called it mental masturbation.
Yeah, that's
it's like
brilliant.
it's
exactly.
perfect. It describes it so well. And I feel
definitely.
like
I do stuff where I've.
Oh, go ahead.
Do you know what? I think I've got a slight delay on here, man. I'm not normally one for talking over people. Sorry.
No, there's a delay. It's just the internet.
I'm annoying myself.
That's just how the internet goes.
Right.
It's just you gotta put up with it.
But
so if I'm talking over you, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's fine, man. I find myself like I'll edit something, and then I'll show my mate, like my best mate Phil, is like he will tear me to pieces for something, and he's like, "Why have you done that? Like that is so embarrassing." And it's like sometimes I'm like, I know it is, but it's kind of funny. Like there's a bit in my recent Hong Kong doc where I'm like jumping over this barrier, and it looks so stupid. I don't know. I'm keeping that in this. It's kind of funny. Like it's in the midst of chaos, but there's part of it that. And it's not for me, it's because like I don't like this idea of like, whoa, like tooting war journalists. Like so much of what we do is so silly and just like mad and just like, oh my god, you've just got away with that skin of your teeth. So I like that roughness to it. But then other times you have to look in the mirror and go, pack it in. What are you doing? You know what I mean?
Right. It's I feel like people discount how funny reality is a lot of the time. That's something that I've had to come to terms with Down the Rabbit Hole. Is in my newest video, right? It is very dire. The things that are happening are very dire, but so much of what is happening is still funny. It's like, this is so absurd. It's over the top and ridiculous. How could this even possibly happen? And I know I keep alluding to my new video. I'm so dug into it that it's like all I'm thinking about right now.
Okay.
But you'll see what I mean when it comes out. It's coming up really soon, guys. I promise. I'm just cutting the video together now. But and that's okay. Like, the humor can bring out the ridiculousness. I mean, my favorite movie is Brazil. It is a horrifying movie, but it's funny all the way through.
Definitely, man. Definitely. There's so many moments like that at war as well that I have always just found like, that is so funny that just happened. And it's actually like when you're in the midst of like very close like danger and violence, like you could get killed.
Right.
It's so much more funnier. Like I've met some of the most amazing funny people in them instances, because to actually be funny like naturally when there's danger all around is just, I can't even explain how nice that is. Like I love it. Like for example, I was in Syria in summer, right? And we were in the Kurdish areas, and like we were staying at this kind of safe house area for a bit, and we spoke to the chef. It was not chef, like a guy that was cooking there. Like he called himself the chef, but he was cooking. And we were like, hey man, we got beer, like is it all right to keep it in the fridge? And he looked at us and he said, mate, I'm a Muslim. And I was like, oh no, he's offended. And he said, but not ISIS. And I was like, oh, that's so funny. And then like the same night he came up onto the balcony with us, was drinking, and it was just hilarious, man. Like he was a great guy. Like stuff like that is just gold, you know. I love stuff like that. It's great.
Yeah. Oh no, is someone saying that Brazil is Doug Walker's favorite film? I can't like that movie anymore. God damn. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's
Who?
Nostalgia Critic.
Oh right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
God, I used to watch that stuff. That was
Really?
Yeah. People like especially Linkara, Todd in the Shadows, not Spoonie, but Nostalgia Critic. Those are the people that really started getting me online.
Really? Oh, I would never have thought.
Yeah, it's surprising, right? Because it's such trash media. But I think that there was.
I'm glad you said it.
I know that there are a lot of people who are like, oh, it's enjoyable, and you're right, it's enjoyable. It's just not very good. That's how I feel. Just that sort of the review as content media. That's kind of how I think of it, where like the review goes beyond being a review and becomes the media itself. It becomes the entertainment, and a lot of that really just is not that good. It's evolved over time into like the video essay format that's gotten really popular. But
yeah, I mean, anyway. it has its place, but sometimes it becomes like parasitic. You know what I mean? Like you're just feeding off of this thing. It's like I'm not a guy that's like, well, fuck critics, but sometimes it's like, well, what did you create, man? You know what I mean? But
there's
some are good. There's a guy I watched recently. He did a thing about Scorpio rising, and this like outsider artist, and his was good. And I realized at the end it was kind of a critique thing, like an essay, basically, video essay, but it was still good, you know. But again, there's no investigative stuff, or you're not learning anything from that stuff, you know.
I'm okay with critics that are able to really dissect a work and get into what, like, when they're able to separate, you know, this didn't work for me, to like, there are technical problems with this, or like, I didn't like it and here's why, you know, picking it apart. Like, that's the kind of critique that's really interesting to me. But then again, you know, I have a lit degree, so of course that's going to appeal to me. Like, I love I love what I did for my degree. So,
well, I think critique is good in the sense of, well, it's good if like I criticize things all the time. Like, I'm very critical, like annoyingly so. Like, I annoy myself sometimes. Like, I'm like, I can't watch this. I'm such a fucking snob. It's funny because in my normal, I'm a snob. I hate snobs more than almost anything, you know, like snobbish people that look down on like working class people or whatever.
Right.
But when it comes to media, I'm such a snob, you know what I mean?
No, me too.
But
I'm so,
I don't
like,
care.
Yeah, it's
like, I don't care if you don't agree. Like, that's fine. When you're like, people are like, well, you're critical, I disagree with you. Well, that's fine. Like, my idea means nothing. My opinion means nothing, man.
Yeah, who cares?
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so don't
if
worry,
you enjoy
cares?
it, if you enjoy it, who cares?
Fine, yeah, absolutely, man.
Like,
I watch
I'm the same
conspiracy
way.
theories for fun.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
the,
like,
I don't
people
have,
like, that's so dumb.
I don't have to convince you that something is good for me to enjoy it.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, same. Like, this is a weird one, but I'm like a massive fan of Lil Peep, you know, like the singer, rapper, whatever. And like, so many people are like, oh, he's so shit. Like, or like, like, how, I can't believe you're not embarrassed to say that. I'm like, mate, I don't care. What I like is what I like. And that's how everyone should be, you know, like,
yeah.
I don't believe in this guilty pleasure thing. Like, it's so silliness. Like, let's just be like, yeah, it's great. Whatever's great to you is cool. You know what I mean? And that doesn't mean that, you know, like, I just talked to my friend who loves Stranger Things, and I love the first two series. I think the first two. It's in the third season now. I don't know.
Is it?
I don't know. The latest one was terrible, like unbelievably terrible.
That's.
But they were like, no, it's the best one, and getting angry at me because I was like, how bad it is. I was like, don't get angry, man. Like, it doesn't matter. You didn't make it. Like,
what is there to get angry about, right? It's like, so
Exactly.
what? Like, it exists. It's there for you to consume, whether this other person likes it or not.
Exactly.
Also,
that's exactly.
I definitely felt like the second season of Stranger Things was a lot weaker than the first. The first season just felt so strong. It was so good.
Yeah, it was great.
But then again, I have a bad habit of like watching the first season of something and like first seasons that really collect everything nicely, and then I'm like, all right, that was a good ending. Even if they left it a little open-ended, whatever. Like it's still
I don't want
nicely,
the mystery to be solved.
It's like, it doesn't have to be. I was that way with I was that way with Utopia. Oh my god, Utopia.
Oh, like, the British thing?
Yes.
Oh man, I love that.
Oh, that's fantastic. I've only ever seen the first
huh?
season. Are the other seasons good? I've heard really mixed things about them.
I'm such like I loved it so much that I couldn't tell if they're good or not. I just loved it. It's they might be terrible because I loved it so much. I was like, give me more. Just give me more of it. You know
I know
what
you mean. I'm afraid to keep watching it. I'm afraid to watch the other seasons because the first season was just so good that like I'm satisfied and I'm like afraid to watch more. There are very few things that I feel that sacred about, but like Utopia was such a formative college experience for me.
Really, in America, yeah?
Yeah, I just found it out of nowhere and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. I got sucked in. And then I showed it to my roommate and I was just like, hey, let's watch the first episode. Maybe we can watch the rest sometime. Binge the whole thing. The whole first season.
It's so original as well. Like, there was when I remember first seeing it and I was like, what the hell is this? You know what I mean? Like, and it's so British as well. Like, a lot of British things like that like murder mystery, conspiracy, they just copy American stuff.
Right.
But the whole thing was so British, you know what I mean? And I was like, I love this. This is just all the references, like even the way they talk, like the places they go, you know, it's just very like, yeah, this is British. This feels like, not that it doesn't feel like it could happen, but it doesn't feel like foreign to here. Like, sometimes I watch things, I'm like, man, this guy's just, you know, there's a lot of like British versions of The Wire, and they're just bad. You know what I mean? And it's just like it's The Wire with a British accent. It's not good.
Right.
Whereas Utopia, they're trying to make a American version. I don't know if it will be any good.
Yeah, Utopia, I feel like...
It's Fincher, though. He's sick.
I get what you're talking about now, and I feel like that identity was a really important part of it. I feel like... I'm not British, but I got the sensation that its themes were very British.
Yeah, and we don't have a lot of our own stuff anymore. I mean, a lot of people probably disagree with me, but I really feel like a lot of our stuff doesn't really represent real life Britain now. We have this kind of fake commercial version of Britain which we kind of export to the world, which we always kind of have, but
right,
you know, we had a lot of films like Dead Man's Shoes and This Is England, and you know, for me it's like that's very British, you know what I mean? And it's not trying to be anything else, it's not trying to hide anything either, you know what I mean? So unfortunately, I love Britain. I'm not one of these, you know, I don't love the government, and I certainly don't love the state by any means, but I love our people, and I don't love the history either, you know what I mean? I'm Irish. but you know what I'm saying? But I do love Britain, you know, and I love our people and that, and it's and to me, like, I don't feel like a lot of the art, or whatever you want to call it, media coming out of here, it just feels like that's kind of Britain, but it's got a bit of a, you know what I mean, it's not quite right, you know.
It's art that doesn't reflect life, and art that doesn't reflect life is uncanny intrinsically.
It feels weird. It feels it's neither here nor there, you know what I mean?
Right. It's who is it representing at that point? It's like, and if they are, I feel like if they are moving outside of it, it should be for a reason. If they're not like if they're setting it in the country and it's making it specifically unlike that country, then it has to be for a good reason. There has to be some sort of thematic element to it. But if it's just for the sake of foreign audiences, then I, as someone not from Britain, feel like I'm being cheaped out.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. I never thought of it like that, from like the perspective of someone that wants to know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's
give me the experience of someone from outside of my culture.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Like that's why mixing cultures is so good. Like, wow, I didn't know anything about that, man. The things I've seen like doing this job is just so good. Like, I don't want to know what I know already. You know what I mean? You want to find out new stuff, right? And you want it to be like, things shouldn't, it has to be familiar. Well, if it's from somewhere else, why does it have to be familiar? Show it as it is. Give me something new. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I don't know, man. I think, you know, a lot of independent people are doing good stuff, but it's not getting the good airplay, I don't think. British media is very strange right now. It's in a weird place.
That's interesting. Like, does it really just not have that much of an identity? Are they trying more to play to a tabula rasa?
It's neither on the internet or completely off the TV yet. It's neither, you know, and everybody watches reality shows still. It's a big thing here, and it's I don't know, mate. It's very odd. Like, I don't know. It feels quite like something is ending, but we don't quite know what it's going to turn into yet. You know what I mean? Right.
And like, people are trying to. You have a ton of people. They're like business enterprises trying to find the next big thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of frustrating. I feel like all that you really need to do to make something that's impactful in this new sort of media, speaking as a creator at this point, you just have to figure out what matters to you and express that, because you're experiencing it right now. Stop trying to figure out what everyone else is trying to experience, and you make what you experience, because if you're trying to make what someone else experiences, it's just going to be lackluster. I don't know. Maybe there are production formulas that get more bucks, because God knows, I'm not rich.
Yeah, tell me. I mean, that's the problem now. If you look at like Netflix, every Netflix doc, it's just so boring. I've spoken about this before, I think with OKI, but you see it, like, you know, when we were literally talking into existence a Netflix documentary where, you know, fading from black, big drone shot over a forest, eerie music comes in, abstract line of VO, someone, you know what I mean? And it's so boring and unoriginal now. And to be honest, every Netflix doc these days could be about 2 or 3 episodes and is somehow 12. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, I remember watching Wild Wild Country and being a little bit frustrated sometimes.
This was way better. I saw yours first, and then I saw it on Netflix. I was like, mate, I already know about this. And then I watched it. It was like,
I think I was just about to release the video when Netflix announced Wild Wild Country, and I'm like, good for me. I guess it's going to get like people are going to be looking up Rajneeshpuram now, I guess.
Well, we get it later here in the UK. Like we get everything a little bit later on the Netflix.
Yeah.
So yeah, I saw yours first, and I was like gonna message you, be like, oh, someone's stolen your idea, and then was like, hang on, wait, no, docs take a long time to make. Shut up.
Right.
It was like, oh wow, okay, like it's interesting to see how Netflix. It's like they were very cool. It was a very original thing, and already it's becoming formulaic. You know what I mean? And they won't, even though with the amazing platform Netflix has, they don't seem to be ready to take risks. To me, anyway, I don't think. But
it's, and this is something I had to come to terms with as a content creator. Because if I keep doing the same exact thing over and over, if I just keep rehashing the same internet celebrities over and over, my channel's gonna die. I know that people really want me to keep doing update videos on particular people, but that's not really what Down the Rabbit Hole is. And if I'm going to evolve, I have to keep following what interests me. And I have to keep trying to grow. Oh my god, I had a like multi-day long on and off argument with Ryan about using the original Spyglass by Kevin MacLeod or his updated version, and his updated version's better. It suits the show better at the very, very least. But I was so scared that people were going to be like, but people are going to expect the do-do-do. Like, people expect that, but that's not really the direction that I need to go. And if I'm going to keep the channel alive, I can't be afraid to change things up. Like, this next video is going to be, a little more normal, but then the video after this, I'm getting a bit more experimental with it. I've got an artist who's going to be making... I haven't talked to you about this at all yet, but I'm already in talks with an artist to get some original paintings done for it. The structure is going to be a little bit different, even though it's still going to have the general chronology. The opening's going to be different, because you gotta experiment, and sometimes it's not going to work. But just get back up on your feet and try something else, because to stagnate is to die, and that nowhere is better personified than in Channel Awesome, right? Like, don't be Channel Awesome. Don't be scared to change.
Yeah, I mean, we have that with Popular Front. We always, after 1 year, we make like a video, year 1, year 2. And like, if you look at year 1, like we were very much like, everyone's like, oh, this is original, this is different, but it hadn't quite found its feet. By year 2, it's like, okay, people are now saying that looks like Popular Front. You know what I mean? Where I like that. It looks like Popular Front, but a lot has actually changed. Consciously, I've made we can't do this anymore. This is played out. We need to do this. You know what I mean? And I think that's the way to do it. You know what I mean? Like you said, you need to keep what you feel like. Like, it feels, all your stuff still feels like Down the Rabbit Hole, but it's good to change it. Do you know what I mean? Otherwise, it just feels old, like you said. Do you know what I would love, actually? I would love to see if someone gave you like $1 million or whatever. And I'm sure you'd like that as well. But what I'm going to say is like, same with OKI. I said this. I would love to see you guys be able to go and do like field work. You know what I mean? Like a mix between YouTube video essay and Louis Theroux. That would be so cool. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's very expensive.
I'd love to do something like that. I actually, God knows when YouTube is going to croak. Like, everyone's a little bit worried. And I'm sort of like putting feelers out to be like, hey, if I were to put together a production company, right? I'm like reaching out to people. It's like, maybe, we approach, like we show them, how many viewers we have collectively. We try to get funding. We make something collaboratively. Like, we make a name for the studio. None of our names are on top. It's like, we make this together. That would that's kind of, the dream eventually. One day, maybe. I want to keep Down the Rabbit Hole going as long as possible, but if things
you need to get bigger and better, though. Like, not you, but just to avoid the pitfalls of, like you said, something falling apart.
Right.
Like, before all this Corona stuff, unfortunately, it's put everything on freeze. But we were speaking to Popular Front. We were speaking to one TV channel and then 2 very big like internet channels, if you like, about doing an actual full-on Popular Front series. You know what I mean? Like a documentary series with, here's the theme. It would be, the idea of the series was we go to wars that are happening around the world that are never in the news. So the wars you won't see in the news, right? So you know, we go to these random areas in Armenia where there's a war been going on for 40 years that you will never see in the news, but hey, people are still dying there, and basically make everyone realize that why these forgotten conflicts are still interesting and still matter. Anyway, so we had all these talks with like TV channel, and the thing that I realized was after starting your own thing, you have a much better leverage. So they were saying it has to be like this. I said, no, it does not have to be like this. It has to be how I say, and it sounds rude or bossy, but I don't care. I've worked hard.
Yeah, no, you're able to point to this and say, I have proof that this works.
Yeah, you need us. We don't need you. That's it, exactly. So, you know, people were saying, well, Jake, we just can't do this. I said, and for the first time in my life,
bullshit.
Well, for the first time in my life, I was in a position. I said, okay, cool, see you later. Then they were like, what do you mean? You're gonna walk away from this deal? Yeah, I am. Because we don't, you know, we have Popular Front going, and it would be great to grow. But we don't need you.
We don't need
what I mean? Yeah. So that's the way to get everyone working together. You know, realize it's working with each other. You know?
That's
we need your platform, but it's got to be right.
That's something that I love. And actually, so there's. It's so powerful for me to basically have achieved my goal. My goal was like to make my living off of making documentaries, right? Off of making Down the Rabbit Hole. And I'm there. Even if YouTube like destroys my channel, Patreon's there. I find somewhere else. I can keep making videos. I've achieved my goal. I'll be able to pay my bills. It's so freeing, and it gives you leverage. Like you were saying, it gives you leverage.
Patreon has been such a godsend for us.
God, yeah.
I was really not into it at first, the idea of it, and then when I watched this amazing video by David Firth, you know, the guy that made Salad Fingers. And he made it about like why Patreon's a good idea, and I watched it and it changed my mind, and I realized it's the way to get around censorship, because when you make your own money off of what you want to make, they can't threaten you. Well, we'll censor it, doesn't matter, because I'm getting money from these guys. They want it. So where there's a will, there's a way, you know? So yeah, the Patreon, I went up, you know, I explained it to my family, like, how do you make money off this? I'm like, look, it's a subscription service, because it literally is, you know, we give bonus episodes and bonus content on Popular Front. So if you subscribe to Netflix, you get all this access to these docs. If you subscribe to Popular Front, you get access to bonus episodes and so on. So, you know, it's a subscription service. It's great.
Yeah. It's
for your own personal one, for your own world and media.
Right, exactly. It's but my Patreon is kind of bare bones, if I'm to be honest. Like, if you get $5 a month, you get an audiobook every month. Yeah, by the way, go to my Patreon, give me $5 a month, and you get an audiobook done by me. The most recent one I did was the first section of Foundation by Isaac Asimov.
And I'm on there. I think it's good what you're doing, man. It's like,
thank you.
Also the thing is as well, because we get a lot of people that, so I have a $1 thing, right? And the idea was because, you know, $1, some people can't afford $5, whatever, but they still want to support.
Right.
And so recently I was going to cancel it, and I was like, hey everyone, I'm going to cancel this because, you know, like, if you want to go into the $5, cool, but what's the point in having the $1? And then I realized people were like, no, don't get rid of it. We want to support it. And I was like, oh, like, you want to support? Because I felt bad because I wasn't giving them anything for the $1. It was just like there. And they were like, no, we don't mind if you're not giving us anything. We just want to support it, even if it's not a lot. And I was like, that's so cool. Like that, I never thought of that. And that really made me think like, so in the end I said, okay, we're keeping it. That's really nice of you. So that's been a really nice thing to see that people, what I'm saying is they believe in it. You know what I mean? It's the same with what you're doing. They believe in it. You know, it's like cool.
It's cool, and it's like it's not a lot a month as long as there are lots of people buying into it. That's what's really powerful.
Yeah, I mean, I'll spend £5 on like crisps a week. You know what I mean, or whatever. Like, so I say to people, look, man, like £5. Like, well, it's even less in England because it's $5. It's like you will get, you know, we've got 52 bonus episodes. We put 2 bonus episodes up a month. And it's like, basically, the more we get, the more you can get. You know, if we get more money, then you will get more and more and more. So, you know, like this year we were planning on doing all these documentaries because the Patreon had jumped up quite a bit. But obviously, again, Corona has wrecked the shop.
Yeah.
So instead, we're going to do loads more podcast episodes as soon as my new mic arrives.
Please. Please give me more.
Yeah, Matt, I've been a bit shit recently because my mic broke, and then I had all this problem with. I've been banned on Twitter, which is very useful for my work.
Yeah. For the most
so it's been a
bullshit
pain.
reason. Christ.
Well, yeah, I mean, I made a joke. A guy said like, I like Popular Front, but I hate Jake Hanrahan, which I found quite funny. You know, I know I'm annoying. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, I'm very aware of how annoying I am. So I was like, fuck you, bro, like whatever. And it was clearly a joke. It was like a very British kind of tongue-in-cheek, but quite aggressive. And he was like, "You're a shithouse." And I was like, "Oh, I'll punch off your face. Meet me at the swings after school." Like, which is like the sort of thing you say when you're about 15.
Right.
England.
It's obviously tongue-in-cheek.
Clearly a joke, you know what I mean? Anyway, so I get a permanent ban, inciting violence. I was like, what the fuck, like, inciting violence? I've been using my Twitter to like investigate neo-Nazi terror groups and putting out information on terror groups. How am I, you know what I mean? Turns out we found out a far-right group on Telegram has been mass reporting my account to get me taken away, and the algorithm has knocked us off, And because of coronavirus, no one on Twitter is reading my appeal. So there are literally hundreds of people going like, what the fuck? Like, why is he banned? And just no human is... Well, that's actually a lie. We spoke to Twitter UK Press today, and they just decided to do nothing about it. But hopefully the US office will do it. But yeah, anyway, so I'm fucking banned off Twitter at the minute, which, again, like, it is very annoying because I've realized how useful it is for my work. You know what I mean? And anyway, I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully it comes back.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I know, like, another person I know got, like, banned off of YouTube for, like, a tongue-in-cheek joke. Or not YouTube, sorry, Twitter. Did I say YouTube?
Twitter.
Okay, I said Twitter.
YouTube, yeah. Okay. I know
yeah. And, like, they didn't get their account back for, like, a year.
It's outrageous.
By the time they got it back, they'd set everything up on their second account.
Yeah, so like, what's the point? Yeah.
Do
you know what? It is actually pathetic. And they say like, well, you know, we don't have the resources to blah, blah, blah. Well, then fine tune your algorithms then. Like, do you know what I mean? And my account was verified. I mean, I don't care. Like, blue check, whatever you want. But it was verified. So you would think there was at least something in place to be like, hang on, that's a potential target for whatever. And he reports on violence and he reports on terror groups. Obviously, someone's going to attack him, maybe flag it for this. No, gone, finished, gone. So, whatever. It's annoying. It's the same with our YouTube, man. Like, the whole YouTube channel is just like, you know, it's just messed up. But,
and yeah, people are saying that Patreon, like, will ban people off for, like, saying things that they don't like. But that's, like, when we're saying Patreon, we're more talking about crowdfunding in general.
Yeah, in general. And to be honest, Patreon is not that bad. They did some insane decisions last year. I don't want to go into it, but they're not that bad. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm not as familiar with like what they've done, so I can't really speak to it.
Yeah, like to me, it was like really like give it a rest. But at the same time, it's, you know, like YouTube have done so much to our videos purely because I don't believe that you should cover up certain acts of violence. You know, I think if it's happening to someone, then everyone has to see it. You know, like you have to be uncomfortable, otherwise people won't care. It's nice being happy and free in the West, but some people are getting crushed by tyrants, and I really believe that you should have to see that up close to be shocked into it. You know, if you hear on the news there was a suicide bombing, blah blah, it rolls off. If you see what a suicide bombing looks like, you might go, wow, okay, we should pay attention to this. You know what I mean?
It becomes a phrase that it becomes a cliche almost. Like, I'd compare it to a cliche, because a cliche is a metaphor that's been used so much that it doesn't actually evoke any strong images or emotions anymore. And things like suicide bombing, you know, someone says suicide, like, I don't know if I'm going to get banned off of YouTube for saying that phrase, but they don't mean anything because people don't imagine what it's like anymore. It's a nothing word. It's a nothing phrase.
Exactly. Because of this, like you said, like years of just hearing it. So now, you know, and like with Popular Front, we can't make any money on our videos because we show not suicide bombers, but we show up close what violence looks like in these places. So because YouTube, and it's not because they care about anyone, because in my opinion, they have to like coddle a certain level of like commercial people because they have to make money. I get it, you know, they've got to sell ads and stuff. And that's that.
Watch Emplemon's newest video if you're interested in that. Emplemon covered an incident where a bunch of advertisers pulled, but then they came back a couple of weeks later sneakily after there were a couple of like scandals that were going on.
Emplemon, yeah.
Emplemon, yeah. He actually he referenced my series in the opening. Like that was his opening gag. It was like down the spiral, in an obvious parody of my logo. And I had a moment where I was watching, because I watch Emplemon's videos, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, Emplemon thought that enough people would recognize that joke to make it his intro gag.
That's cool, right?
I there was a little part of me that was like, I've made it, right?
Yeah, no, for real, right? That's cool, man. That's like, I mean, it's funny, but that is true. Like, once you enter like popular references, you know, you're getting there. You know, people started making Popular Front memes now. Like, there's a joke that anything that looks kind of militant but a bit rubbish, people say listens to Popular Front once. You know what I mean? I love that. That's so cool that has happened. You know, like, yeah, it's great, man. Listen, Fred, I'm gonna have to go in a minute, man.
Yeah,
I just realized.
I've kept you a lot longer than I meant to.
It's fine.
I was having such a good time chatting with you. I was looking at the time. I'm like, oh god, I'm keeping Jake forever.
No, same. But I just looked at my neighbor. He's like, kind of doing a sign, like from the back garden, like I can hear you.
Okay, yeah, I got you.
I'm a very loud guy. Yeah.
All right, I'll let you go, but thank you so much for coming on. This was fantastic.
Mate, thank you, mate. You know I'm an absolutely massive fan. I got the sticker on my wall.
Oh,
I love all your stuff, man.
That's fantastic. That makes me really happy, because like I remember you, before you go, there's one last thing I need to say.
Yeah.
Well, there are two things. First of all, like when you first contacted me, you were one of the really early viewers. Like, you were one of my early.
Yeah, I've been on this for like 2 years, I think.
Yeah, you're
Maybe
like
more. Yeah.
you're like right there, right at the beginning of like my growth.
Yeah.
I remember talking with you, and I was like, oh my god, I got imposter syndrome, something fierce.
Yeah, I get that, man. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The other thing I wanted to say is I wanted to apologize to you, because when you were starting Popular Front, you said what should I do to get big on Patreon? And my response was, you really have to establish yourself before you can really make it on Patreon. And you just kind of said, fuck it, and did it anyway. And I'm so glad that you did. And I felt like a douche for giving you bad advice. And I felt really bad about that for a while now.
I mean, no, it's not bad advice. It's just there are some times when I'm like, I get that, but I've got an idea.
I'm so glad that you went for it. I'm so glad that you went for it, because you went for a different model than I did, where like it really is you're using Patreon more as a subscription service than hey, I'm making this thing, please, help me pay my bills. It's more like, here, you want more Popular Front, here, give me the mon, right? Like, give me the mon to keep this going so I can keep making. It's a little more business-like than crowdfunding.
Right, man. I tell you what, one of the most interesting things I've learned about like Popular Front was like getting better at journalism, but learning about business on the go. And I am a moron when it comes to stuff like that.
Right.
So it's been interesting to learn. But no, man, definitely, like, there wasn't bad advice at all. It's just, I was like, hang on, let me just try it. You know what I mean? And sometimes I do it, and a lot of things have failed, trust me, but this one worked, man. Thanks very much, man. I'm glad you like it.
No, it's fantastic. Thank you for giving me something to listen to while I eat.
Yeah, man. Well, thanks for all the videos, man. I can't wait to see the next one.
Yeah, I think that you're gonna really dig the next one. It's it's a criminal conspiracy theory. Yeah, there's a big. It's not a conspiracy theory. Sorry, it's not a theory. It's an actual conspiracy.
Yeah, it's a real one. Yeah,
it's a real conspiracy. I think that's gonna be right up your alley. I need to stop giving spoilers. I'm giving crazy spoilers. All right, but no, thank you so much for coming on.
All right, bro. Thank you very much, man. If anyone wants to look at what we're doing,
yes.
If they just go to www.popularfront.co. We've got Instagram, Twitter, everything, but just go there, you'll find everything. So yeah.
.co. Bam. I just put the link in chat. Popularfront.co.
Oh, thanks, mate. Speak to you soon, Fred.
Yeah, I'll catch you later. Like, feel free to reach out whenever, man. I love talking with you.
Hey, let's do this again, definitely.
Yeah. All right, I'll catch you later.
All right, bro. Good night, mate. Bye-bye.
Bye. And he's out. I'll stick around a little bit longer to chat with you guys. God, that I was not expecting to go that long, but like Jake is so much fun to talk to. Goodness gracious. Now I'll hang out. If you guys have questions in chat, feel free to let me know. I want to steep these leaves a few times. That's the funny thing about this tea. The Nilgiri Oolong from Young Mountain. That's what I'm drinking right now. I'll always make sure. Here, I'll put it up to the camera so you can see. It's Nilgiri Oolong, but I hope it's focusing. There we go. From Young Mountain Tea. Young Mountain Tea is really cool. They contacted some really remote tea farms from the Himalayas that were... like, they were too far from a port to really get big, and the guy, and like all the tea places are getting stiffed, like all the tea growers are getting stiffed. There's like a massive markup for the tea they sell, but Young Mountain cuts them way better deals, and actually gets like, they're helping the economy out a lot there, and it's really cool. But the thing is about this tea, I feel like I'm just coming to accept that the first few steeps of this are a little bit bitter, even if they do have a really nice flavor. But then, like, the last few steeps are the best because it has this nice, really rich mouthfeel, and it's smooth. It's great. You've been recruited by my chat to start a tea channel soon. Any requests? Can you find, like, some more gentle pu'ers? Like, if you can find a gentle pu'er, like something that isn't so, like, aggressive with its flavor. I really like the more gentler teas. I mostly drink green and white teas, and occasionally oolongs. This is much stronger than I usually drink. What questions would I ask a biologist on tea? I have, like, chemical questions, but a biologist. What kind of pests eat tea leaves, right? Like, what kind of pests do tea growers have to deal with? Like, are there funguses? Are there insects? I'm interested. Can I play the hurdy-gurdy on stream? Yeah, sometime. So just by the way, everyone, this is not going to be the last one. There are going to be 6 more of these tea streams. There's going to be one every day, same time, until next Thursday. And I'm going to have a new creator on each time. I've got some really cool people coming. Jake, I was really excited to have Jake on. I'm excited to have all of them on. It's going to be really cool. This stream will be archived, though. I hope that I can salvage the beginning of it. I might have to cut it together, but it will be on the other channel. Do I have a lockdown project? My lockdown project is down the rabbit hole. I work from home anyway, so it's mostly just been business as usual for me. You imported a horsehair fungus into Denmark from tea plants you purchased from a collector. Oh dear. How did I first get in contact with Jake? Jake reached out to me just to say, hey, I like your videos. And that was really nice. Gentle pu'er. Wuliang Wild from Essence of Tea. Okay, let me write that down real quick. Essence of Tea. Okay, I've got it. I've just got in like the URL bar of my web browser. There we go. Thank you so much. Perfect. What was my reaction while researching the Finger Family videos? That I found anything at all. I thought that was just going to be a nightmare and a dead end, but I found Ground Zero and I was kind of amazed about that. So X2 Hell is saying the eternal cycle of requesting the same people to Knudsen, including extremely topical cows. Shake my head. That's kind of the funny thing, is I like to mix up the topics on Down the Rabbit Hole. Ooh, it's getting darker. You can kind of tell. I don't have an auto aperture set, so you can sort of see it getting darker. It's funny. I like to mix up the topics. So, I'll do a historical one, and then I'll do, a couple of internet ones. I'll do, like, maybe, but I try to cycle them out, but every time I release a new video, people suggest the same kind of topic to me, and it's like, ask again in like 6 months, right? Are you the only one who thought I was straight up European from my name? No, a lot of people think so. Do I like making internet videos or history videos more? Whatever I'm feeling at the time. What's the best place to contact me? Second of all, would I be able to do a video on something awful? Doing a video on something awful would be rough, because so much is lost and the archives are absolutely a nightmare to work with. This stream on this channel is going to be pulled down, but it's going to be re-uploaded to the other channel because I don't want to clutter my channel with streams. Have I read Neil Gaiman's The Sandman? No. I need to read more Neil Gaiman. Everyone says he's really good, but I haven't really liked a lot of what he's written. But that's just me. I mean, like, it could easily just be what I've read. I can hardly remember the things that I've read by him anyway. I haven't read much. Who's my biggest influence on my videos? Probably Nova. I mentioned it earlier when I was talking with Jake. Nova is probably my biggest inspiration. I grew up on it. I love it. I think I can get one more steep out of these leaves. And if that's the case, I should probably read super chats and call it. I don't want this stream to go on for a million years. Who proofreads my final scripts? I don't tend to have proofreaders. Instead, I read the script aloud to, like, I have a small group of people. Randolph Carter, for example. He's the dude who voiced Asdrubal Vecht in If the Emperor Had a Text-to-Speech Device. He's actually a fantastic writer and a fantastic voice actor. And I read my scripts to him. I tend to read the scripts because my scripts need to be cohesive and comprehensible, even if someone is not looking at the screen. So I just read it aloud to them and ask, all right, is this making sense? Is anything confusing? Or is something worded weird? That's how I tend to do it. I have like a small group of people. Have you heard of Rainbot? Yeah, I've seen a few of her videos. I need to watch more. They're just another one of those channels that I need to watch more of. You've watched my vid since Chris Chan. That was my second video. What's next on Down the Rabbit Hole? I can't tell you. I like to keep it a secret. Is there a Down the Oh yeah, no, the next Down the Rabbit Hole is almost done. I know I keep saying this because new people keep coming in and asking, but the next Down the Rabbit Hole is in the final stages of production. We're just about done. I should do a video on Yandere Dev? I should, but I'm waiting. I've pulled the trigger too early too many times, and I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for the topic to fit, like the whole arc to finish. I plan one down the rabbit hole at a time. It tends to differ. Sometimes I have a long queue. Sometimes, like now, I have a much shorter queue. I know what the video after this next one is going to be, but I don't know what's going to come after that. I'm still figuring it out. A lot of it has to do with like what I'm feeling passionate and interested in at the time. How did I find out about Henry Darger? Elise McCall, the person who designed the Down the Rabbit Hole logo. She introduced me to Henry Darger. She showed me the documentary In the Realms of the Unreal. And I was like, wow, this is fascinating. I need to make a video. And because I wanted to look a little bit more, I felt like that there were probably things that the documentary left out, and I was right. I was really happy to get into that. Is a boogie vid coming? Not again. It's a topic that needs to finish first. You see, I have my WASDA caps replaced. Play many FPS games? I don't like FPS games as a rule. The game itself has to be like good and cohesive. The two FPSs that I'm really into right now are PlanetSide 2 and GTFO. GTFO is awesome. It's like the new Alien Swarm. Alien Swarm was something that I was really into for a while. What are some good investigation channels I recommend? Atrocity Guide. Always. Always Atrocity Guide. She's probably the most like down the rabbit hole. Night Mind, if you want to know about ARGs. I've been enjoying Mama Max. I've been enjoying Oki's Oki's Weird Tales, I think it is. It's just Oki. O-K-I. He's great. That's all you need to know now. Oh, hey, Atrocity Guide, how you doing? This might get buried. Aw, but you love my videos. I'm so glad. If no one's asked already, what was one of my favorite episodes to research and write? The Collier Brothers was good. I wish I had taken more time for it. Temple OS was a trip. That was an experience like none other, learning about Temple OS. I knew nothing going into it. All right, I've heard of Jim Can't Swim. I haven't watched enough of him to really be like... I know a lot of his content's on Patreon, and I'm not there, so I can't really talk to it very much. Hey, Kairos. How you doing? It's been a while. What plans do I have for my channel in the future? More down the rabbit hole. I have no reason to stop. I feel like down the rabbit hole is so diverse. Like, I can tackle such a diverse range of topics with down the rabbit hole that I can basically do whatever I want with it. It's great. I love my job. It's fantastic. Thank you all for watching and for supporting just by watching. Thank you, everyone. This one's to you. This last cup is for all of you. All right, maybe I should... Yeah, I know Oki's here. He was here earlier. I don't know if he's still here. Is he still here? Oki, are you talking? There you are. Oki's Weird Stories. I did get it right. Which one was the hardest? The newest one. By far... the newest down the rabbit hole that's coming out really soon was the hardest one I've ever had to research. It's a nightmare. Oh, it was horrible. I loved it, but it was a nightmare to research. Okay, little story. Hi Cordelia, I see you. My research assistant discovered, looking at a whole bunch of articles, saw that this one book was referenced over and over. They looked to see if they could find it online. It was nowhere. So they started getting creative. They called their library, and the library was like, well, we don't have the book. Maybe you could call the library in the capital city, the big one. They called the library. This big library said, we don't have it, but maybe you could go to this college that might have it. So they called this college. That college said, we don't have it, but it looks like in our records that this other college has it. And it's this college right next to where they live too. And they call this college and they're like, yeah, we have the book. It was written by our old headmaster and he's amazing, right? He's going on and on and on. And then they were able to get it on interlibrary loan. It turned out that we weren't even sure if this book was going to have what we needed, but oh my God, it did. It was a nightmare. And it's not in English. They had to read it and translate the important bits for me. It's wild. What's the worst down the rabbit hole? The anime ones. Or the Vaporwave one. Both of those are really bad in terms of like just getting facts wrong. It's gotten a lot better. I need to do another mistakes video. I'm overdue. I'm very overdue. I keep saying that to myself. I might do it after this one or the one after it. We'll see. Okay. I know I can't answer everyone's questions. Let's go ahead and check out super chats real quick. Okay, we're at the top. Cool. Shade Thrower says, your work is wonderful. Can't wait to see more. I'm so glad. Thank you very much. Meat Canyon. That's a good name. Thank you for such amazing content, bud. I rewatch Temple OS all the time while I work. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you like it. I really... It means a lot to me that people can revisit my videos and enjoy them, because that's always my favorite content. The stuff I can go back to and enjoy again. It's great. CB96 asks, new DTRH when? Very soon. Like next couple weeks. I'm just video editing it now. I know I keep saying that, everyone. I'm sorry. But the new video is really close to done. Reb asks, hi Fred, love your content. Have you been keeping up with Gino Samuel's Chris Chan documentary? I am current on it, yes. I watch them within a few days of them coming out typically. I think I still need to watch the most recent one. I've been having a hard time finding time for it. Trevor B asks, Jasmine Green and Spearmint are your favorite teas? That's legit. I'm so excited to watch this. Have you ever tried Dragon Pearl tea? Jasmine Dragon was the tea that got me into tea in general. Smug Duck says, Ram Ranch really rocks. Ooh woo. Daniel Gaylor says, the pot was so poisonous it screwed up the stream. Yes, it did. Robert Flynn asks, love your work. Can I ask your ethnic background? I'm very Norwegian, very, like, German, very, British, a little bit of British. Roundabouts. Okay. Lou, sup, Lou? Lou did some art for The Warrens, the little podcast that I have with Jabroni Mike. And she says, you're laughing. 3 men are dead and you're laughing. What's that from? 3 men are dead and you're laughing. I feel like I should know this. Can someone in chat... I know someone in chat's going to be like... like, how do you not know this reference? And I'm going to be like, because I'm uneducated. Toby Makura says, how's your hurdy-gurdy doing? Badly. I'm actually really worried because the key that I sent in still isn't repaired. I tried calling them a few times, and I can't leave a message because their voicemail box is full, and they're not responding to my email. They either ghosted me or something bad happened to them. I'm worried, frankly. Reese Lloyd asks, hey, Fred, so glad to hear you speak again. Hope you enjoy what we Welsh call your panad, which I know you will. Panad. What does that mean? Can I get out? Oh, it's the Joker. Oh, okay. I still need to watch that movie. I'm sorry. Oh, what? Hold on. Elijah Thompson says, I showed the video on the Mouse Utopia experiment to your biology teacher as an example of carrying capacity and got played in class. Oh, that's fantastic. That's not the first time I've heard that one of my videos was used in a classroom, and it's always so cool to me when I hear that. It makes me really happy. Let me see. Reese Lloyd asks, hey Fred, so glad to hear you speak again. Right, I already read that one. Haha. Sagittarius A asks, I love tea. I'm learning so much. Love you, Fred. Aw, shucks. Love you too. Squidward says, PP. Dakota says, hey Fred, I love your channel. You always produce amazing content. Peace and love. Thank you very much. West Coast Emerald Bowl says, heard of Nikocado Avocado. I know nothing about them. I know another content creator that has something in the works about them that I'm very interested in seeing, just so I can know why people keep asking me to make a video on Nikocado Avocado. Oh god, hold on. I'm going to pronounce this. Quip-tipped Nichtfimk. Okay, there we go. Came out to my mother recently. She was cool. That's fantastic. I'm so glad. The Silent Civilian says, a tiny thanks from Russia. It's soon 1 a.m. here. Thank you so much for staying up. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was worth it. Kosafi asks, are you going to delete or unlist this stream? Postscript, I really love your videos. I'm so glad. It's not going to stay on this channel. I'm going to remove it off of this channel and put it up on the other channel. So it'll still be here. It'll be around. Peter Melling. Hey, P. Melling. Peter Melling, I recognize you from Patreon. You always ask questions in the Q&As. would you try to do a musician episode? It could happen for sure. There are a few that I could absolutely cover. I know I've got plenty of suggestions for them, and I very well might. Was it? Dr. Glitch says, Shabbat Shalom. Thank you. And Lou's back. This is a challenge. 1v1 me when the Darkest Dungeon PvP update gets released. You're on. Let's go. Michael Draper asks, let me see. Thoughts on the CDC saying to wear cloth masks? I'm not educated enough, frankly. I could not give any sort of thought on it. Silent Tremor is bringing back Forbies. Okay, that's a reference and a half. I remember one time when I quoted Forbes, I accidentally called Forbes Forbies. I quickly took that upload down and re-uploaded it with changed audio. but people still remember that. I can't believe that. Then Levi for waifu asks, hey Fredrik, I'm wondering if you've heard of Pets Cop. Also, do you hate the sound of your own voice? I've heard of Pets Cop. I know a little bit about it. I haven't dug super deep into it, but I do know about it. And as for hating my own voice, I hated it at first, but I've heard it so much at this point that I'm just ambivalent about it. I am very critical of it when I'm recording narration, though. I record lines sometimes 2, 3, 4, 10 times over, desperately trying to get a good take, especially if I'm getting mouth clicks. That's something that I feel like every narrator, voice actor struggles with. I still need to finish this cup of tea, so I'll hang out a little bit and answer questions in chat. Do I like progressive rock? Yeah. Especially progressive metal. Not so much American metal. I'm kind of a metal boy. I really like A Forest of Stars. Grave Mounds and Grave Mistakes is an unbelievably good album. I love Devin Townsend. I really like Dark Tranquillity. Arion was what got me into metal. One of the bands that got me into metal. Hammerfall did. Camelot did. Ignia. Ignia is an underrated band as hell. Look up Ignia, please. Everyone, look up Ignia, please. They're this tiny metal band from Ukraine that nobody knows about, and it's a shame because they're so good. They made some of my favorite metal tracks. What's the saddest down the rabbit hole? Temple OS. If only because of how much detail I got into it. There are a few videos I've almost broken down while making. Temple OS multiple times, the Collier Brothers, Time Cube toward the end when I finally put everything together was just aggressively saddening. Those are the ones that really got me. Henry Darger is sad, but he was more inspiring to me than anything else. Favorite EDM? You guys, don't judge me, but sometimes I get in the mood for hardstyle. It's inexplicable, but there's just something about it that gets me going. Bounce, 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 bounce. I'm not familiar with Haken. Like, there are bands that I'm really into these obscure bands, but these big bands that I should know, I don't know at all. Like, I'm finally I started listening to Tool yesterday, and I'm loving it. Tool is, like, what I needed in high school. I just didn't have. Since I have such a Scandinavian name, do I speak any Norwegian greetings? Or speak any Norwegian? No, I don't, I'm afraid. Ich lerne Deutsch. Das ist alle. And that's not Scandinavian. You know, we just passed the 2-hour mark. We've got another 6 streams coming up over the rest of the week. So I think now is a good time to call it. Thank you very much, everyone. So tomorrow, same time, we're going to have another guest on. And we're going to chat with them for however long, you know, half an hour, hour and a half, whatever we're feeling. If you want to join again tomorrow, go ahead. If this wasn't your thing, it's fine. I don't blame you. I went into this recognizing that, this wasn't going to be everyone's thing, but I thought that this was a nice opportunity to bring people on, maybe help be a little area of peace when everything is so chaotic. Bring people on, chat, answer questions, let people know I'm still alive before the next video. Drink tea. It's always nice to have an excuse to drink tea. I drink so much tea every day. Next time, we're going to have a different tea every day, too. Goof Troop says, yeah, sip that tea, you bet. Mr. Whateverism, this has been a nice change from listening to my vids over and over. You'll have another one very soon. Don't worry. Thank you very much, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow. That timed very nicely with the music. Good afternoon, good evening, good night.